everyone. So today I thought I would do something a little different and record a video. We're going to do the voiceover. So if you see crazy hand motions, that's what that is. But today I wanted to talk to y'all about how to make the perfect bujo. So as you can see here, I'm going to be working in my bullet journal. It is an A5 minimalism art soft cover, and right now I have got the Luna hardcover or leather cover on it from Imperfectly Perfect. So yeah, this topic kind of came to me. I have seen a couple of people in Facebook groups talking about different things. And it kind of inspired me to want to try to make this video. Now I'm coming at this from the perspective of wanting to talk to people who may be new to bullet journaling or who are wanting to kind of up their bullet journal game by going from maybe the traditional writer Carol method to more of a decorative style bullet journal. So, y'all can watch as I set up for today and tomorrow and enjoy. So, I'm not really going to be going through my supplies or anything like that. I'm just going to be laying stuff down. You're going to see me struggle a little bit with how I want to lay things out, abandon things, all that good stuff. So this is truly how my process is. I've got it sped up a little bit. This takes me about 40-ish minutes every day, I would say. But this is like a daily ritual for me. I like to do 2 spreads a day, or daily pages. So really I'm doing 2 spreads for each day. And I refer back to them pretty often. I'm a daily planner, and I'll get more into that the further we go along. So, how to make the perfect bujo. The first point I want to make here is that your journal is perfect because it's your journal. It's tailor fit to you. To me, that's one of the best things about being in a bullet journal rather than a traditional structured planner. There may be things in planners that it's one of those one size fits all type ordeals. One size doesn't always fit all. Me myself, I used planners for a while because I found the bullet journal method to be intimidating. It's a blank page. It is intimidating. So I wanted that structure, but the further along I've gone into my bullet journal, or my planner journey, should I say, I've been into glam planning for around 6 or 7 years now. But I've kind of always been a planner. But yeah. So now it's not quite as intimidating. I've kind of found what works for me, and that's really the biggest key, is finding what works for you. So your journal is perfect because it is your journal. The second point that I want to make is if you're using this as a time management system, that's your ultimate goal, to help keep your life organized. So always make sure you keep your organization first, your creativity second. I myself, and I know other people, sometimes we tend to procrastinate and we get so caught up in the decorating and everything like that that sometimes we forget that this is a tool for us to use to keep our life organized, make sure we make it to appointments, get tasks done, all that good stuff. So make sure you always keep your goal in mind, unless you're using it as like a creative art journal. Now, if that's what you're wanting to use it for, then by all means, create the heck away, and um, don't really worry about putting a bunch of tasks in there. Like I said, it's your journal. You do you. The third thing is to just start. A blank notebook, like I said before, is really intimidating. I know, it really is. Um, you get that excitement from purchasing it, but then when you get it in your hands, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to mess it up. Um, and sometimes that can hinder some people. But it's okay. What is the notebook's intended purpose? To be filled. It's not intended to just sit there and catch dust. So just start. The fourth tip I would say is you need to figure out how you want your book to work for you. We don't work for the book works for us. So you need to determine what your goals are. What do you want to get out of your journal? Do you want it to be a creative outlet? Do you want to track habits? Do you want to track meals, daily tasks, moods? Do you have weight loss goals? Do you have goals to be more mindful? Do you want to get a routine started where you have a 5-minute morning routine? Those are all kinds of things, and so many more things that you can track in your bullet journal. Make a list of those things. I would take a notepad, whatever you want. The possibilities really are endless. Once you've kind of got an outline of what you think you may like, now is the time to really get inspired. So I would recommend going to Instagram or Pinterest. There's tons of Facebook groups dedicated to bullet journaling or planning. You can take inspiration from planners themselves, watch YouTube videos, all kinds of stuff. You may want to have your list with you so that you can write a few more things down, or if you're on Pinterest, you can create a special board for bujo stuff, or if you're on your phone, make another folder full of bullet journal inspiration. You can save posts on Instagram. There is a world of resources out there for you to get inspired. And you can also think outside of the box. Sometimes I find inspiration from people who do junk journals, who do scrapbooking, who do digital planning. I mean, there's inspiration really is everywhere. So I would write that stuff down as well, and you can keep a continuous list of things that you want to put in your bullet journal. Me, myself, I would not confine myself at first by doing a full month. So you'll see a lot of YouTubers that do regular Plan With Me's once a month. They'll do their entire setup, which includes a monthly calendar spread, a future log, a habit trackers, all of their collections for the month. They set up all their weeks all in one setting. If you're just starting out and you're not entirely sure what's going to work for you, I would not recommend doing that full setup. You may love a week on 2 pages. You may end up loving a week on 1 page, or daily spreads. There's tons of different ways that you can set your bullet journal up. So I would recommend, if you want to do at least a little bit of something, maybe do a month calendar and then set up a week at a time at most. Like I said, this is just, you can continuously try different things to see what works for you. While we're on the subject of getting inspired by others, try not to compare your work to another person's. They say that comparison is the thief of joy, and that is so true. I see time and again people who are new to bullet journaling or otherwise comparing themselves, saying things like, I wish I was as artistic as Sally, or, oh God, all your spreads are just so pretty and perfect. Mine will never look like that. Oh, okay, stop. Stop. Some people just may be more artistically inclined, or they've been doing it for years. Um, Coming up with what works for you is a lot of trial and error. These people that you admire their spreads, they may have been practicing their craft for a long, long time to see what works for them. You're likely not, if you're just starting out with glam planning or in the bullet journal world, you're likely not going to just be able to plop down and crap out the most beautiful woo-woo aesthetic spread. And you know what? That's okay. Unless you're a prodigy, of course. Then maybe. And you're likely not going to find what works for you at first. And you're likely not going to keep the same thing from year to year. What works for you in a month may not work for you in a couple of months. And that's okay, because we're constantly evolving. If you find something interesting, don't be afraid to try it. Just keep in mind what I said about confining yourself. That's why I would recommend doing that and setting things up so far in advance. You want to be able to try something new each week. That way you don't get bored or you abandon your spread altogether because how you set it up isn't working. So you can move to something different next time you sit down to set up. You can change things as often as your time allows. Some people have more time to set up than others, and that's perfectly fine. You can work steadily on it throughout the day. It's entirely up to you. Another thing to think about is just because one person does it doesn't mean that it will work for you. If you start watching a lot of bullet journal setups on YouTube, you're likely to come across a lot of people who have future logs, habit trackers, all these different collections, and things like that. And you know what? They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. And if they work for them, that is fantastic. Me, myself, I could not make that work. I loved the idea. I still love the idea of setting up habit trackers and all those pretty things. But I just could not get it to work for me. So I have my set of collections that I put in the back. I prefer to put those kinds of things in the back. That way I can work from back up, because I don't know what I'm going to add in there. Some things like mail tracker, I'll have that in from bullet journal to bullet journal, but sometimes I'm really good about keeping up with different collections, and sometimes I'm not. So I prefer to do all of my daily planning from front to back, of course, but then my collections, I put them at the very back and then work my way back up to the front of the book with the collections. So if you find that something like that doesn't work for you, that's okay. You shouldn't feel bad about it. If it doesn't work for you, do not feel like a failure. If you really love the idea of a habit tracker, try it. But if you don't keep up with it, don't feel like a failure, because believe me, there are tons of us out there who abandon spreads or just realize that that doesn't work for us. We all do it. Another tip I would say is to stop fretting over the not so perfect lines, not so perfect artwork, not so perfectly cut or positioned washi and stickers. I just showed that my spreads are not always just beautiful and gorgeous. Sometimes, like I just showed briefly, it is 2 days on one page and it's just in a list form. Generally, I do like to keep my spreads very pretty and glamorous with lots of stickers, washi, and other artistic mediums, but sometimes I just don't feel like it, so I just make a list just to keep myself in the habit of using my bullet journal. Okay, so where was I? Oh, yeah. Stop fretting over the imperfections. Or I see this on Facebook too, and I think it's so funny, different people's reactions. For you parents out there, you know we can't have anything. So there may come a time that your little one will come up unbeknownst to you and decide that they want to help you with your plans and scribble all over them with crayon or a marker, because of course they're going to scribble all over it with something that you can't erase. That's just the way it is. It's like the Murphy's Law of having a bujo with kids. It's not ruined. I personally think it's cute. And in all reality, you might be pissed off today, but when you look back on it tomorrow or years from now, it's going to be so cute. And it's going to be, that little moment in time where your little one tried to help. And who knows? I mean, it might be one of those things that just really touches your heart. You just never know. Okay, next tip. We understand that we all have spreads that we're embarrassed or not proud of. Every single one of us. Don't get frustrated and don't quit. That is the worst thing that you can do. Keep at it. And you may want to keep your creations. I still have some of my very, very early spreads from 2014 when I started this journey. It was either 14 or 15, I can't remember. And I like to look back on them and just, to me, they look like shit. But it's kind of neat just seeing how my planning has evolved over the years. I have gone through so many planners and systems and things and all that, and I have finally found a little bit of peace in what I'm using now. It works for me, and I know I do things a little bit differently than most of your quote-unquote standard bujoers out there. I do not use the Ryder Carroll method. I do not use a key. I know that there would be some bullet journalists out there who say that what I do would not even be considered a bujo. But you know what? That's okay. If they want to stick to their method, great. It works for them. But I'm going to stick to mine. This is what works for me. I enjoy doing it. It's my one creative outlet that I have. And honestly, I'm happier when I'm able to do all of this and create. So let's see. So like I said, yeah, sometimes it's fun to just flip back through and see how your creativity has evolved. All right, very quickly, going to get to the last 2 points. So if you really, really hate the paper in your notebook and you're ready to abandon it, that's okay. Been there, done that. I'm sure all of us have a vast collection of unfinished notebooks, but you can combat the guilt, if you feel that, of abandoning notebooks by repurposing them. You can create a commonplace book, which is what I've done with one of my old bullet journals. You can fill it with different ideas, kind of like a scratch notebook. You can convert it into a daily meditation book to keep by your bed, or a place to write down other things like ideas for social media, future spreads. The possibilities are endless. And the last tip that I have is to remember, why is this the perfect bullet journal? Because it is yours. And that's what makes it perfect. So keep that in mind. I feel really, really awkward doing voiceovers. I don't know if I'm going to do this again. Like, I feel like that weird person doing their first podcast. Anywho, so this spread ended up being a little bit of a hot mess, but I think it came together. I'm sorry about the variances in color going from warm to cool. Don't know what that was about. Don't know how to fix it. So hopefully next time I'll be able to catch that before I film the entire video. But anyway, so if you have any recommendations for creating the perfect bujo, or if you have any comments, please leave those down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see future videos, please hit subscribe. I would love to have you over here. And other than that, I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, everybody.